Hi everyone, so I'm going to be doing problem 15-7. It's just an extension from 15-5, and what it's telling us to do is just organize the functions and variables around. So what we want to do is we just want to see here, we did, so take the question 15-5 we just did above and organize it in terms of having both the functions at the top and the variables after. Lastly, have the console log display the answer. So what we want to do is just move things around. So let us just remove this console here. So we have the two functions, but we're going to move both of these functions up. So take that out, and we're going to put this above the variables. And I'm going to just console log out at the end. Let's just do console.log x. So it should give us 30 here. And let's look at this together. So what I'm trying to get you guys to do and realize is that you can somewhat organize things around in a document depending how you laid things out. So what it's showing here is do these functions up here, so find the functions up here, and do the variables and find the function down here. So remember when I told you guys, like, usually lines of code goes like one line at a time from top down, but it can still, if there's a initialized variable with a function, it can actually, what it can do is it can look for this function anywhere in the document, and it will take the values and just look for it. So having these variables down here below the function will still give you the same result. So if we run, I'll just open the terminal up here a little bit more and do node test.js. And as you can see here, we still get the value of 30 and 35. And it's doing the exact same thing. The only area where you will not be able to move things around is the variable x and the variable z, is because variable x is being referenced in variable z. So it's saying after you perform this function, that will give you x. And then the next line says, do this with the variable x and the d. But what we're going to do is if we take this and put this above this other function, it's going to give an error. Because if we read this from top down, and we have z here, and we can look for this function no problem, but now it's looking for x. What is x? X hasn't been defined yet up here. So if you haven't defined it above what this x variable is, it's going to give an error. So if we run it, you can see here, it'll just give a nan value because it's not going to be able to find what we're looking for. What's essentially doing now is it's trying to do the calculation, but here, since we're console logging out x, it's still here, but 5 times 6 is 30, which will be shown here, but we're also console logging z. And z, if we go top down, z is right here, and we don't have the variable x yet defined. So that's why it gives the result of nan, because it cannot find that x value, it cannot do that addition that's needed. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that you can move around functions and variables to a certain extent, but you have to be careful what you are moving around. And I highly recommend, if you want to be a good developer, that you really organize your code in terms of all the variables together, all the functions together. It just looks neater and nicer for the type of code that you are trying to write.